Hello, it's Karen here from AnTara.org, and I'm popping in today with my Oktoberfest, although there will be no beer drinking here because I don't like beer. But this is my October energy report. And it's obvious that the world is changing quite rapidly now, I think, and that's a good thing. But as much as we want that change, very often that change can also feel very uncomfortable, because we want to control things in our life. We want to know how things are going to pan out. And we can't control this because we really are moving into a new energetic timeline space that we've never been in before. We don't quite know what that's going to look like. And remember that we are doing a whole dimensional shift here. So it's coming for us, whether we want it to or not. The best thing we can do is kind of ease into it, because things are going to be intense for a wee while until we get there. The next few months, I feel, are going to be very, very intense. And then it might ease off again, and then it will get intense again. Now, before we go on, I just want to say there's a lot of talk out there about digital ID, or the requirement of you having a digital ID in order to access social media. There's a lot of censoring going on, a lot of, here in Australia, they're trying to pass a misinformation bill, which basically will give them free slaver to shut down anything they want on social media. And so I'm seeing that it's possible that we may not be able to contact each other in the same way as we have been because of all these restrictions that they're putting on. And we really don't fully know what they've got planned, do we? So if you would like to stay in touch with me and hear from me, and I hope you will, I would encourage you to please visit my website, AnTara.org. Down the bottom on the first page, you'll find a place where you can sign up to get my newsletter. Then you're on my emailing list and we can still communicate with each other. And the other option for us to stay in touch with each other is for you to join my membership, which is called the New Earth Ascension Temple. It's a membership, but there is, no lock-in fee, no lock-in time period. You can come in, and if it's not for you, you can leave again. But it is a way that we can stay in touch, because that is on a separate platform. It's not a Facebook group or anything like that. It's completely separate. And then I'm expecting that we'll be able to stay in contact and talk to each other there, if nowhere else. So if you'd like to stay in touch with me, and I hope you will, then look out for one of those two methods of staying in touch. And honestly, if you can't be bothered to go and look for that yourself, just put a comment beneath this saying, contact me, and I'll be in touch and we'll sort it all out, and I'll try and make it as easy for you as possible. Because, as I say, I think these next few months are going to get very, very intense. And actually, I don't see it easing up for a while, let's say. I'm talking more probably year, 18 months. I don't think this is going to be over in a flash by any means. And I do feel that we're moving into this time where things are going to get intense, and then it will ease off, and then it will get intense. It's kind of almost luring us into a feeling of safety when things, relax a little bit. We're like, oh, wow, okay, we've got there. And then it intensifies again. There's a whole psychological reason why they're doing that. I'm not going to go into that today. But I want you to think of this a little bit like being in labour. Whether or not you've been in labour or ever will be in labour, I think you kind of got an idea of how contractions work, right? So the contraction comes and it gets intense, and then it eases off. And then it comes again and it's more intense, and then it eases off. And it builds and builds, really, in intensity and in frequency, because this is all about frequency. Not only the frequency in time, meaning coming more and more often, these periods of intensity, but also in frequency, as in, we talk about frequency and vibration, right? So this is all about raising frequency of the planet, of our body, and that's what this intensity is all about, leading us to the point in which we can literally birth the new earth, which is what this is all about. So we are in the process of this. You can't change it. You can't change your mind and say, oh yeah, I think I won't do that now. You actually chose to be here for this. So just remind yourself that you chose that, and it's a good thing, because we're actually moving forwards, aren't we? So remind yourself that this is what you've been waiting for, and it's a good thing, and let's all just get on with it in the best way that we can. So I don't know what it will look like before you ask, because we've never been in this time, space, frequency dimension before, because this is a dimensional shift, remember? So I got to say that for many people, I think it's going to be very hard. For those people that have not done any preparation on themselves at all, spiritually, energetically, psychologically, these are the people that have not worked on themselves. They've done no inner child work, no shadow work, no personal development work. And as these new energies come in, for some people, I really think it's going to feel and look like their whole world is falling apart. I do actually see a lot of mental breakdown, that kind of thing, nervous breakdown happening with people that are not prepared for this, because people are being pushed to shift. And remember that this shift, we talk about the shift from the third dimension to the fifth dimension, but we're moving through the fourth dimension, the astral plane. The fourth dimension is the heart. So when you think about it, we're moving from our head to our heart. Now that kind of seems a bit counterintuitive, because we think of our head to our heart, you know, we're going down. What's that about? But actually the energetic matrix of the mental mind has got a whole dynamic in the solar plexus, which is your third chakra, which is your third dimensional chakra. So we're moving from the third dimensional chakra into the fourth dimensional chakra, which is the heart, and then ultimately into the fifth dimension, because that's what we're doing. It's very much more multi-dimensional than that, but trying to keep it simple for people. We say we're moving from the third to the fifth. It's a very multi-dimensional thing though. So that can be a shock. Literally moving dimensions can be a shock. Energetically, it's a big thing. I have a class coming up actually on the 3rd of October inside my New Earth Ascension Temple. I'm going to be talking all about, you know, the nuts and bolts of this really, because it's a class that's all about your light body, the activation of your light body and how we go through. It's actually ascension mechanics. So if you're interested to join us for that, again, you can just put, yep, I want to join you in a comment, and I'll bring you all the details, save you searching for them. That's on the 3rd of October. You can join us. Now, if you're listening to this video after that time, if you come in and join the membership, you can still access that class. It'll always be there as a replay. So for those of us that have been on a spiritual path for many years already, we have been able to do this ascension process, because this is effectively what it is, an ascension and awakening process. We've been able to do this at a much slower pace over many years, and it's been a little bit easier in that because we haven't had such intensity. We've had it coming through incrementally, incremental upgrades. But remember that we were the torchbearers, like we were the ones leading the way through this when most of the other people were around us were asleep. Most everybody thought we were bonkers. So it's not exactly been easy. It's just been difficult in a different way. Now people are just waking up. The people that are just waking up now are really at risk of a mental breakdown, literally overload, you know, circuits blowing, because this is such a big thing now. And the intensity on the planet and the plasma coming in is very much more intense, I've got to say. And they might be very keen to do the spiritual bypassing and not look at any of this. They also might be very keen to do the quick fixes to soothe their spirit. And there are a lot of quick fixes out there, and I'm thinking of things like, you know, ayahuasca for rapid spiritual awakening, kundalini activations. I do urge caution with those things, because pushing something before you're ready on many other levels for it can be very dangerous. I've worked with a lot of people that have had spiritual psychosis and psychotic breaks from trying to push their ascension process too quick. It needs to be done in incremental upgrades. So that's a little warning there. But ultimately, sometimes these things lead them down the wrong path and health issues arise, again, because they're pushing the body too quickly. So for us old timers, we took in the new energies that were coming through, we assimilated it, we integrated it, and we dealt with the physical side effects of it, of a body changing frequency. And we did that in a step-by-step way. And many of the new kids on the block, many of the people that are a little bit newer to this, many of them have only started changing their diets really in the last 4 or 5 years, changed their chemical intakes as well, you know. Whereas many of us, old timers, as I call us affectionately, we've been off of all of that stuff for 15, 20, 25 years, you know. Our bodies are cleaner. And we're actually able to hold the frequencies that are coming in now much more easily because, well, partly because we're less contaminated by some of those chemicals. And that's a massive generalization, of course, but also because we have done a lot of personal development work, spiritual development work over those years. You know, we can really hold those frequencies coming in much more easily. And we also understand a lot more of what it actually means and what we're seeing and experiencing as, you know, the veils thin between these dimensional layers. And there are some wild experiences happening. So we can quite often make more sense of that, and it kind of, we can find a little bit more peace in that, you know. Now, there are other groups of people who were awake 15 years ago, but they actually went back to sleep, and many of them are only just waking up again now. People say, oh, once you're awake you can never go back to sleep. I would very much argue against that because I've seen it. Actually, in so many of my clients and in so many of my friends and colleagues, even some of the healers and teachers kind of fell back to sleep for a little while and now they're coming back into it again. So some of these people started to clean up, you know, on every level back then, 15 years ago. But they've gone back in to the matrix, if you like. And many of them have taken in all of the stuff, you know, all of the inorganic stuff that their bodies didn't really want, but they were in that matrix mindset at that point. So they just took it on in without really giving it too much of a thought. So this is now having an impact on their bodies, along with the unhealed emotions that they maybe started to look at back then, but kind of let that go and went back into the matrix, as I say. And so now, you know, as this high voltage energy is starting to come through, now it's kind of supercharged in a toxic, unprepared body. And honestly, even in a clean body, some of what's coming through right now is intense. So really, I feel for the people that are going to be affected by this strong energy coming in. It's a beautiful energy, don't get me wrong. It's not like an energy of attack. This is, you know, ascension energies coming in. Beautiful, but intense if you're not prepared for it, and intense if you don't have support to go through the process. Obviously, that's what I do. I offer you support. So if you need help, reach out. Now, the more we are engaged with the distractions that the matrix offers us, the more we are aligning to that, to the matrix. And this is really important to know, because many people go, oh yeah, I know all about the matrix stuff. I'm not in that. And yet I see them really engaged in that. So it's kind of like you can know it and still engage with the matrix, or you can really embody that knowing and move yourself away from it. And that's the one I would recommend, of course, because we must be conscious of where we are placing our attention and our focus. It's literally like, you know, pointing your vehicle or your car in the direction of the matrix, even though you know everything about the matrix, and you're still driving along that road because you're so engaged in it. And this could be following the politics. It could be, getting heavily into social media and all of the stuff that they put up on social media. And it could be, into all the celebrity gossip and all the latest stuff that's going down, and, the psyops and all the false flags and getting all the details. And so people are saying, yeah, I know all about that. But they get so down the rabbit hole that they end up black-pilled, or they're just actually in denial because they're in the matrix when they're following all of that stuff really heavily. So that's a little warning there. If you know what it's all about, shift your attention onto what you want to experience and create. Don't get stuck back there. Now, we experienced a very powerful timeline split recently. You probably felt it. I can't remember the exact date now. I'm a little bit lost on when these things happened, but I think it may have been, it was probably around the time of the full moon, the lunar eclipse, that kind of time period over those few days. Very, very intense energy came through. It was pretty surreal, I gotta say. And I really saw multiple timelines folding in on themselves. And it was very, very vivid, actually. It was a very vivid experience showing me that we really, really can choose where we want to be, on which timeline we want to be on. But in order to do that, we really must be conscious enough to know that that's happening now, right? And we can't be asleep at the wheel. So if we forget and we get sucked into the latest scandal, then recognize your attention's going right there in that matrix. And what do you think all of that's put there for? It's put there to distract you from your ascension and awakening process. It's put there to suck you into it. It's very magnetic, and you have to be very disciplined within yourself to pull away from it and focus on that beautiful new earth timeline that I'm guessing you want to experience with me. So we have to stay focused on that. Authenticity is going to be coming up big time. I've talked about that a lot, of course, but for October, I'm seeing it again, intensifying more and more. Authenticity is coming up, and truth. Well, we know truth is a high frequency. Authenticity apparently is higher yet. I'm not a scientist. I haven't measured and calculated that. I'm going on people like David Hawkins and what he has to say about it. But the point is, anyone that is trying to fake authenticity or truth, or lying, or trying to cheat, or trying to put on a big facade of what's not real for them, it's all just not going to hold in these new frequencies, because the higher the frequency that is coming onto the planet, we're aligning more and more to truth and authenticity. You cannot fake that. It's a frequency. You can't trick the universe. And if you are lying, cheating, stealing, as they say, you won't be able to hold the lies, right, in this new energy. And we're going to see it all come crashing down for people. The fake people, the ones that have been scamming and doing the dirty behind the scenes. Truth brings visibility. And are we not just seeing the truth of everything now? That's why, everyone's being, the whistleblowers and all of this stuff, but everything is being revealed right now. I think that's a really, really good thing. I love authenticity and truth. But the time really is now to step up. If you are to be a new earth leader going forwards, it's time for you to step into your authenticity now. Now, I appreciate you might still have some fears and some limitations, negative beliefs, all of that stuff. Of course, that is all of what I do with my work, so reach out to me if you need any help with that. But if you have a burning passion, follow it. If you're in the wrong place, in the wrong job, in the wrong relationship, in the wrong career, in the wrong location, move, change it. If you are in denial about the work you've done, if you are spiritual, doing a spiritual bypass and not being really honest with yourself, well, face yourself and actually get yourself sorted out. Face the work that you need to do internally so that you can be really aligned with where you need to be going forwards. Who you came here to be, who you really are, what you're here to do. It's beautiful. When you step into that, there is a feeling of freedom and sovereignty and alignment. You just know that you're on the right path. So I do encourage you to do that. I know it can be scary to make these changes, but honestly, if you don't make them, I really think these new energies coming through are kind of going to make them for you, because there's a soul contract here as well, remember. Well, you maybe don't remember your soul contract, but if you're here, if you've got all of this wisdom and knowledge inside of you that was set up by your soul, you know, you said, I'm going to come here and in this timeline, this is what I'm going to do. And it's all kind of written for you. It's all there ready for you. And I can tell you, this is your time. So if you need help to really get onto that timeline, find your soul purpose and move forward, reach out to me. Maybe you don't need my help, but I do encourage you to actually face this now, step into it, embrace it, and love yourself for it, because it will be the best thing that you ever choose to do. So, as I've said, if you need any support, reach out to me. I have lots of ways in which I can help you. And as I've mentioned earlier on, I hope that we'll stay in contact if all of these social media platforms suddenly disappear. So make sure that, you know, we have an email address for each other, or better yet, come on in and join my New Earth Ascension Temple. And that's kind of it for now. I hope this has been helpful to you, and I hope to talk with you again very soon. As I said, comment in the box. If you can't be bothered to go looking for all these links that I've mentioned, just say, yep, I want to stay in contact, and I will bring it all right to your door and make it easy for you. So have a great week, and make sure that you like and subscribe to this video, because we know that's how the algorithms work, and then that way hopefully this video can reach more people. Okay, have a great couple of weeks until I see you again. Bye-bye.